about what is a Buddha. Buddha is enlightenment and wisdom. So a Buddha means someone has come into full realization and enlightenment. So today we are going to talk about the 3 kinds of wisdom and the 3 kinds of enlightenment. So from here to there. So there's actually 3 categories. First, we're going to talk about general and all-knowledge wisdom. So Buddha means someone who is wise, who knows the truth about the universe. And what is the general and all-knowledge wisdom? Is to know about the general truth about the whole universe. Everything is impermanent. Everything is forever changing, just like our body. So with this wisdom, we will come to this self-enlightenment that there's not a thing as the self. We call it non-self. So what does it mean? Why is non-self wisdom? When you understand that everything is forever changing and you let go of the idea of the ego and this identity of mind, you actually will live a much happier life. So that is called the general and all-knowledge wisdom. So how do we apply this wisdom in everyday situation? For example, last time we talked about Liao Fan, how to become virtuous by having the virtue of humility, by being humble. A lot of us have the problem of being conceited, thinking we're better than others. So if you let go of the idea of the self, then you won't be conceited anymore. There's not a me to be better than someone else. So you give up the idea of comparing. When you compare to everyone else, you'll come up with a lot of these ideas. I'm better, or he's better, or who's better. You lose your virtue of humility. You actually become someone very full of yourself. So by knowing that there's not an idea that's identified as me, then you give up the idea of comparing. You'll come into full peace with yourself and with everyone else. For example, when you hear people say things that are not nice, if you know that there's not a self, who is he or she saying it to, right? So who is it hurting? The words, who is it hurting if there's not an idea of the self? So if you let go of the self-identity, you will no longer be offended by anyone else. That is true wisdom. And also, we have the idea of ownership. This is my house, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my car, this is my belonging. But if you know there is not a constant me that is owning all these things, if you lose these things, you will no longer be sad. When you're fully at peace and you don't base your happiness on this ownership of things. You let go of the idea of me and I and what do I own. That way, you will experience life in a much more happier way. You'll be a sage because you're fully aware of letting go of the ego and detached from worldly things. When you come into this kind of wisdom, we call it self-enlightenment, which is letting go of the idea of the self. And when you are practicing this kind of enlightenment, we call it the Theravada Buddhism. When you reach this level of understanding, you are called an arhat. Arhat is someone who reached this level of enlightenment. They no longer have to be in the 6th round of reincarnation. Their wisdom has already let go of the idea of the self, so they no longer have to reincarnate. Or you can become a Pratyeka Buddha who's also realizing the idea that things are forever changing, so there is not a constant me that should be attached to. This is the first kind of wisdom that is the foundation of all Buddhism. The second wisdom is called differentiation wisdom. So first, you come into wisdom and knowledge about the world, which is all impermanent, and there's no idea of the self. Now you focus your wisdom on differentiating everyone else. Not just you become enlightened, you want to help everyone else around you become enlightened. So it's called differentiation. That means knowing everyone's difference. Everything is impermanent, everything is changing, but you want to know how everyone is different. For example, some people like to eat rice. Some people like to eat noodle. Some people like to eat buns. Everybody is different. So you give people what they want. Then they will listen to you and learn the Dharma and become enlightened. To know and understand everyone is a very big wisdom. So we call it differentiation wisdom. When you come to this kind of enlightenment, it's called the enlightenment of the self and others. Not only you know about your own self, you now help others become enlightened and help them let go of their ego and get out of their incarnation. So we call this kind of Buddhism Mahayana Buddhism. It's mainly about compassion. When you practice this kind of Mahayana Buddhism, you are now called a Bodhisattva. A Bodhisattva is someone that's always helping others to become enlightened. There was an abbot, a monk. One day he has to go outside of his temple to do some errands. On the way back, it started raining really, really hard. He tried to find a place so he can rest. So he came to a big mansion, this rich person's mansion, and he knocked on the door and asked the servant, may I please come in, rest a little until the rain stops. But the servant said, I'm sorry, the owner, this rich person, he really hates monks, so you better just go. And then he said, can I just please stand by the roof just for a little while until the rain stops? He said, let me go in and ask. So he went in to ask, and the servant comes back and said, no, I'm sorry, he asked you to leave right now. So the abbot, can you just please tell me the name of this owner? So the servant told him the name, and the abbot went away. 3 years later, this rich person, he got a wife. This young wife really loved to learn Buddhism. The rich person, he can help this wife of his to learn a lot of Buddhism. So this wife said, can you take me to this temple nearby? I want to go there. So one day he took the wife to see this temple. And when he went inside, much to his surprise, he saw his name, a tag in the front of the statue. And he asked the little monk, why is that name up there on the shrine? And he said, because 3 years ago, my abbot went out and he said this rich person really does not like him. He put his name up so he will pray for him every day for 3 years. And that's why he will have good affinity with this person for the rest of his life. The rich person came full realization that he should change his way and start learning Buddhism. So this monk, he did not get upset. He tried to help him and put his name up and pray for him for 3 years. That is called Mahayana Buddhism, when you really, really care about the well-being of others. And the third kind of wisdom is called overall perfect wisdom. This is basically the combination of the first two. The first one is general wisdom about the impermanence of the entire universe and let go of the idea of the self. And then you put your wisdom and to know all other sentient beings and to help them. If you can balance between this wisdom and the differential wisdom, it becomes the overall perfect wisdom. When you come into this wisdom, it's called the perfect, complete enlightenment, and you become a Buddha. So this is a perfect person with perfect compassion and enlightenment. And there's a fast way to reach this Buddhahood. It's called single vehicle Buddhism. That means when you are fully aware that innately you are born as a Buddha. Like you have the Buddha nature inside of you. This is not like what you learn or you have to work hard at it. You are born as a Buddha. In the beginning, you already have the general and all knowledge wisdom. You have the differential wisdom. You have the overall perfect wisdom inside of you to begin with. So why can't you become a Buddha? Everyone is a Buddha. So it's called single vehicle. So one car becoming Buddhahood. And the Lotus Sutra, which is the most important sutra in Buddhism, It talks about the daughter of the Naga king. So Naga is the sea world. One time, when Shri Bodhisattva, he went to the water world to help they become enlightened. In this lotus flower sutra assembly, all the Buddha and Bodhisattva, they're sitting around, and they asked Bodhisattva Manjushri, when you went to the palace of the Naga king, did you help anyone become enlightened? And he said, yeah, I helped the daughter of the Naga king. She's only 8 years old, but she has a perfect wisdom, and she loves all sentient beings as if they're her own children, immediately enlightened, and she's only an 8-year-old girl. And everyone in the assembly don't believe the daughter of the Naga king. She appeared in the assembly. She offered a jewel of hers to the Buddha. Buddha accepted her jewel, and then she asked everyone, is this done quickly? That I give this offer and Buddha accept. And they're like, yeah, this is done very quickly. Then she said, you watch me become a Buddha more quickly than this. So all of a sudden, everybody see her. She transformed into a man standing on a lotus flower, went to the south world, and became a Buddha. So what does that mean? That means everybody has the Buddha nature inside of them. That's why this 8-year-old girl, she become enlightened. How does she do that? Because she knows she has the Buddha nature inside of her. We all gotta be confident that we are all Buddha to begin with. Now you know you have the 3 kind of wisdom inside of you, and you can reach the 3 kind of enlightenment. Now that you know that you are a Buddha to begin with, and you cultivate heart, and sure enough, you will reach Buddhahood. That's the lesson for today. Thank you for listening. Amitofo.